Before Facebook, before TikTok, Caribbean people already had social media. But this was better. This was real. It's where every secret was told, every rumor started, and where every family fight ended. But if you didn't grow up here, you might never understand. But if you did, you already know what I'm talking about. Picture this: Caribbean sunset. The smell of dinner drifting out of every kitchen. The sound of kids screaming in laughter as they play in the streets. And in front of every single house, a veranda. Or maybe your family call it a gallery or a porch, whatever the name. This was the Caribbean's first social media. Before WhatsApp groups, before Instagram stories, this was where the news traveled faster than fiber internet. You didn't need a phone to find out what was happening. You just had to sit out front and listen. The veranda wasn't just a porch. It was the Caribbean's drama channel. A car creeping down the road, everybody knew who was in it. Someone walking home with a bag from the shop before they even reached the gate. The veranda committee knew what they bought, how much it cost, and why they were out so late. And if there was a neighborhood argument, oh, you better believe it was getting a live studio audience. You see, Caribbean neighborhoods didn't need tabloids. They had Miss Joyce from next door. Miss Joyce knew everybody's full name, their family history, their cousin's business, and she could spread news quicker than CNN. But here's what outsiders never understand. That wasn't just gossip, it was safety. That's why growing up in the Caribbean felt different. Kids played outside without fear, because there were eyes everywhere. That veranda wasn't just a porch, it was a security system, a watchtower, and the neighborhood's favorite talk show, all rolled into one.
That's true.
If you grew up Caribbean, you knew the vibe. You couldn't just walk down your street without hearing, "Evening, child." You couldn't stop at the shop without 3 people asking who your parents were. And back then you probably hated it, but now, looking back, that's what made us feel safe, seen, and connected. Everyone knew who belonged. Everyone knew who your family was. Everyone cared enough to watch over you. You didn't need a passport to feel secure. Your whole block was your login. And here's the thing. We didn't realize how powerful that veranda was until we left. For those of us who moved abroad, you know this feeling. You step into a new neighborhood and nobody waves. Nobody knows your name. You could be gone for days and nobody would notice. You went from being watched over to feeling invisible. That's why Caribbean people all over the world are talking about this right now. We don't just miss home. We miss that feeling. Every Caribbean veranda was Comedy Central before Comedy Central. You didn't need Netflix. The neighborhood drama was free, and it was live every night. Like that time your uncle tried sneaking home at 2 a.m. By that time, the entire block knew what color shirt he was wearing, what he drank, and who he was with. Cheating? Forget it. If you even blink wrong in the Caribbean, someone's auntie saw you, zoomed in with her eyes and gave a live play-by-play over morning tea. That veranda wasn't just a porch, it was a lie detector test.
You're lying!
And listen, we didn't need cameras. Miss Hyacinth next door was better than a Ring doorbell. If a stranger passed through, she could tell you their name, their cousin's name, and which church they went to before they even turned the corner. We joke about how Caribbean people are nosy, but really, that's how our neighborhoods felt safe. You weren't just raised by your parents, you were raised by an entire village. And before we go any further, I want to talk about the invisible fence. Kids had an invisible fence. Yeah, you couldn't walk 2 steps outside the gate without hearing where you're going. And that wasn't just from your mom, that was from the whole block. And here's the thing, it wasn't about control, it was love. People cared enough to know where you were. You felt seen, you felt like you mattered. And that's something many of us don't feel anymore. Yeah, truth is, the veranda was more than gossip. It was culture in stereo. 3 radios blasting different stations, dominoes slamming on tables, kids laughing so hard you could hear them 2 streets over. The smell of curry, soup, jerk chicken, and freshly baked bread drifting through the air. It wasn't just a porch, it was the heartbeat of the Caribbean. And let's not forget the clapbacks. You couldn't pass a veranda without catching a stray roast. Boy, you get biggie? Girl, that's your boyfriend? He look hungry. You walking like you own the place. You owe rent yet? Caribbean love is loud. It's savage. It's real. And somehow it made you feel at home more than anything else. But here's the part that stings. We move away. We traded the veranda for balconies, front steps for apartment hallways, and suddenly nobody waves. Nobody knows your name. Nobody notices if you don't come home. We gained privacy but lost connection. We got faster internet but lonelier lives. That's why this conversation is blowing up online, because deep down, Caribbean people miss being watched over. The veranda wasn't perfect. It was messy. It was noisy. Sometimes it felt like living in a reality show you didn't sign up for. But it was love. It was culture. It was safety. And we didn't realize how powerful it was until it was gone. If this made you laugh or made you miss home, drop your flag in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. And send this to a friend. Send this to somebody who needs to watch this. Remember, it's not just a destination. It's the journey. See you on the next one. Peace.